Alrighty, good morning, everybody. Looks like we are live. Hopefully, we have sound. When I get started last week, we didn't have sound. I had to redo it. So if you don't hear me, let me know. I'm going to pull up the YouTube so I can see the chat. I'll go back to that and see if there's anybody in there today. Most of you watch on Twitter, I know. But you are watching the Cashman's Playbook for Saturday, May 6th. If you would, wherever you're watching, if you're watching on YouTube, please hit the thumbs up button and the subscribe button. And if you're on Twitter, like, retweet, helps so much. If you're not following on Twitter, please follow at TheCashmanWins. If you want to become a Pick subscriber, go to TheCashmanwins.com. Deals for $1 a week or less. That's all sports included, along with computer projections. And Venmo customers, this weekend only, you can get 1 year all sports for just $44. Do that via Venmo. Links are on the website at TheCashmanwins.com. They'll be on the Twitter handle at TheCashmanWins, and my Venmo is TheCashmanWins. 2-0 for Friday for our subscriber plays for MLB. Let's go in over the MLB plays for Saturday, or MLB action for Saturday. There's not a lot out there. I'm seeing baseball really well, so when I say there's not much out there, there's really just nothing on the board that I think is a great investment with like a 2 or 3 star type of play. I think a dangerous slate of games, but maybe a coin flip chance. So sometimes that's worth an investment. I'm going to start with the Twins at the Guardians. Sonny Gray going for Minnesota today. He's having a great year. Hasn't allowed more than a run in any of his 6 starts so far this year. But Cleveland's left-handed batters have a history against Gray. Gray has a 4.57 ERA in his last 5 starts versus Cleveland. And those left-handers for Cleveland, Kwan, Naylor, Straw, Jimenez, and Rosario, they all hit Gray really well, but they're all slumping as well right now. Cleveland's offense really slumping. They don't have a guy in the lineup right now that's hitting over 250 the last 7 days. So you have a little bit of a conflict there. A gamble for sure. Gray, who's had some bad history, like I said, versus Cleveland, he's on fire for the Twins. So, what's going to happen? What's going to give there? Is this Cleveland offense going to have a get right game here against a team they've hit in the past, or is Gray going to continue to dominate against teams but against the team he doesn't dominate? So that's hard to really recommend. Minnesota comes in, their bats are cold as well. They're struggling versus left-handers, and the Guardians are throwing a left-hander, Logan Allen, today. He's looked good in a couple of early starts. Opponents hitting just 214 against him in 2 starts this year. Twins have a lot of left-handed bats that they depend on in their offense. So I can give you as many reasons here to back Cleveland at even or plus money as I could give you to stay off of them. So I can't really say I recommend Cleveland. I'd lean their way just a little bit here, but you're going to have them kind of break out of their slump to repeat the history that they've had, against Sonny Gray. So I'm not going to really recommend it. I would lean Cleveland, but I'm not going to recommend that play on that game. I think there's too many variables that go against it that make it a little dicey. Several other games today where you have favorites juiced around minus 200 or better. Orioles at the Braves. I think Atlanta scores some runs tonight against Kyle Bradish in Baltimore. Atlanta's going to throw Spencer Strider out there. I'm worried about the Braves bullpen, though. I think the Braves, they're the best team overall in the National League. I think they'll be there at the end, and they'll probably be the team that comes out of the National League. But their relief pitching right now has not been very good. I don't trust the relief pitching right now, so I have a hard time backing them in this one. If we were going to back them, it would have to be on the run line minus 1.5. I mean, they're minus 245 favorites. This is not worth going after. And I think it's something I expect them to score some runs. I figure they get 4 or 5 tonight with Bradish going for Baltimore, but I'm not going to play anything on that game. The White Sox are at the Reds tonight also. This is one of them that I had some interest in. Total in this game is 9. For me, the value in betting overs in baseball really stops at 8.5. If you bet over 8.5 here and it would cash, the 9 would be a push at the worst. So maybe something you're going to look at. I think I'm probably going to have at least a personal play on this. Haven't bet it yet, but I think the Sox get to Nick Lodolo for the Reds. Right-handed batters are hitting 367, slugging 624 versus Lodolo. And at Great American Park, those numbers jump up to 414 and 690 for this season. So Lodolo has not been very good, and he's been even worse at home. Luis Robert, Andrew Vaughn, Eloy Jimenez are plus 425 all the way up to plus 550 to home run individually. I'll have separate home run props on each of these guys to home run tonight. So if just one of them hits, you'll have a little bit of a profit. I'll have all the home run props up later today, early this afternoon for you for tonight's game. But hard to back the White Sox also for the full game here with their bullpen right now. Reds are slight favorites in this game because of that White Sox bullpen. Clevenger going for the Sox. He has a whip over 1.6 this year, so I don't even really like a first 5 inning play on the Sox here in this game. But I'll take individual home run props. So 3 separate home run props, one on Luis Robert, one on Andrew Vaughn, one on Eloy Jimenez for the White Sox to home run. And then I'll go ahead and take a look at the over 9. I think a reasonable chance that you get a push here, but that over 9 is minus 115 to minus 120 at the books I looked at this morning. So I'm going to have a personal play on this later today. I'll have it posted. Other than that, the Rays, they're big home favorites versus the Yankees today. I would lean Rays on that. I'm not going to play it. It's close to minus. It'll be minus 200 by game time. It's over 170 now. The Nationals tonight are interesting as dogs at Arizona. We had to actually bet these two teams last night under 5.5 as a subscriber play, and we got through with that. Mackenzie Gore, he's been really solid as a starter for Washington, but I passed on him recently at the Mets because of his numbers versus left-handed hitters. He actually pitched great in that game. But Gore is a lefty himself, and opponents overall are hitting just 228 against him, but left-handed batters are batting 421 and they're slugging 790 against him. It's just amazing how good his overall numbers are compared to his split stats versus left-handed hitters with him being a lefty himself. So I really can't back him there, but it did interest me a little bit with Washington as a plus money dog on at Arizona tonight against the pitcher that Arizona's throwing, Tommy Henry, who's left-hander, Washington should be able to get some runs off of. So, boy, it's hard. I just can't back Gore with those numbers versus lefties right now. So I'm going to pass and hopefully don't regret it. Like I said, I will have home run props up later today. I will get today's computer projections for MLB, the NHL playoffs, and the NBA playoffs. I'll have those up before 1 p.m. For baseball, model number 1 is 23, 9, and 5 this season in MLB totals. That's around 67%. That's been a good computer model to follow for baseball. Model number 1 is also 72 and 43 in MLB moneyline projections. And we're also 11-3 when Model 1 and I actually agree on a moneyline baseball play. And those are always marked on the projection sheets with a star next to the team when I have agree on a play that they have. So keep an eye for that if that's something you want to track. Kentucky Derby today, already read that the favorite Forte has been scratched. So Forte glue might be coming to a store near you very soon. Be watching for that. But no, seriously, hopefully the horse is okay. I haven't read really what's going on with him, but it was, I guess, one of the favorites or the favorite. And he's been scratched for whatever reason. I'll have to read a little bit more about that when I'm done here. Several of you have tweeted, emailed me, asked me about the 149th running of the Kentucky Derby. And frankly, I just don't spend a lot of enough time on the horses to recommend plays on this. You know, I want to give you responsible information and not guess. And I don't guess at anything I do when I give you information. I just don't spend enough time on it. So I can't give you an educated opinion on anything. I will go over some things this afternoon and see if I can find a horse or two that I might want to put a little bit on myself. But that's it's not prudent advice that I'd be giving you. I do like watching the event. Like I said, I follow some races during the summer when it's slow during baseball. Maybe a slow baseball day I'll follow on TVG. But just nothing I'm really comfortable sending out to you guys and saying, hey, I recommend you do this. I'd be doing you a disservice by doing that. But there are a few different people that you can get some information from on this race. Ryan Mueller at Ryan_Mueller88 on Twitter. It's a good follow for horse racing tips. He posts daily. I try to retweet him when I see his posts on my Twitter timeline. Give him a look and see what he's got posted for the Derby today. You can check out the Odds Breakers with Kiev O'Neill. I've done his podcast a few times over the years for college football, college basketball. I noticed that he had put out a podcast and a stream on Twitter with the Bear, Chris Felica, that formerly of ESPN. He's currently with Fox. He was on there. So they're at the Odds Breakers on Twitter. I know they've got some content up for the race. And then Dan Dockage had his horse guy on yesterday, Vince Lodel. Check Dan out on YouTube on Don't At Me. And you can also check out the podcast version of that for yesterday, wherever you get your podcast. Vince was on with Dan yesterday, and you could check out what he had for the race if you're looking for some tips on the Kentucky Derby. They'll give you a lot better information on today's race than I can give you. We got the Wells Fargo Championship today. There is currently a three-way tie at the top. I haven't looked at the leaderboard this morning since the people have teed off. I'm going to pull that up here while we're chatting here. I should have had that open when we started. Three-way tie at the top. I gave out some golfers yesterday. Let's see, golf scores. And let's see what the leaderboard's looking like this morning with who's teed off. None of the big ones have. Most of the ones we're really going to be interested in are not going to tee off till afternoon. So I don't think we're missing anything right now. Let's see here. Yeah. So I said I gave out 4 golfers yesterday. Baseball and golf, they're actually my 2 favorite sports to bet on, so I enjoy doing golf. We've been in the hunt this year a lot on the golf. We got over the hump with Rahm at the Masters. We had Spieth plus 2,200 at the Valspar, and he had that meltdown those last 3 holes. But we've been in contention a lot with our golfers. 4 I posted on Friday live. I posted Cantley at plus 700. Posted Thigala at 2,200. I posted Kevin Streelman at 7,500, and then Adam Svensson at plus 4,000. Thigala, he got a 74 on Friday, dropping him down to -1. He's going to have to turn it around to get back into this. I'm not sure that's going to happen. Cantley shot a 71 in round 2. He's still only 3 or 4 off the lead. He tees off a little bit before 11:30, so that's coming up. I'll be following him today. Then Streelman, he also shot a 71 on Friday. He's just 3 off the lead. He was a long shot at 75-1 yesterday. But I saw that number where he was out on the board. I had to take a shot at that 75-1. But he's set to tee off around 12:20. I don't expect him to be there at the end, but we'll watch him and we'll see. Hopefully he gets there. Then we added Adam Svensson later yesterday afternoon at 40-1. Kind of watched him yesterday, watch him kind of move up that board. He was pretty consistent. Took him. He's just 1 off the lead now, so he's tied for second place. He shot a 68 in round 1. I improved on that with a 67 yesterday. So, like I said, watching him slowly creep up the board yesterday. He's still listed at 30-1 as of 8 a.m. this morning. So I don't know if it's moved again or not, but he doesn't tee off until just before 1 p.m. So I still think that's a great number where he's at right now, just through 2 rounds. And with that position on the board, I think 30-1 is definitely worth a $5 bet to get you $150 if you can pull this out. Definitely a good investment. Still value on the board, though, like I said, with live guys in contention that don't get started till after 12. Justin Thomas, I'm watching him. He's 7-1. Just 1 shot off the lead. He finished 4th at the Phoenix Open, was in the top 10 at the Valspar. He's due. I've had him a couple times in my list of golfers, and he hasn't come through, but you might consider him. Nate Lashley, he's tied for the lead and is 25-1 at DraftKings. I don't think he'll be the guy. I'm not gonna put anything on him. He's had 2 top 10 finishes in his last 18 tournaments. He did finish tied for 3rd at the Puerto Rico Open. If I did anything on him, I'd maybe put $5 on him. I'm not going to invest big in him. I don't see him being there at the end. But I'm going to watch Justin Thomas today. Like I said, I think he's really due to make a run. And I'm going to look and see if Patrick Cantley can bounce back today. He's still very much in contention. Did not have a very good day yesterday. And like I said with Streelman, I don't expect him to be there. But he was. I think he's 3 shots off the lead today, and at 75-1, he was at that time. He was definitely worth a look. And I'm still, definitely still in contention, so I haven't lost hope in him by any means. Xander Schauffele is in play today, but I think I'm going to ride with the 4 that I took and then add Justin Thomas to my list, and I think I'm going to go from there. I'm not going to add anything else, maybe later this afternoon once I've seen how these guys are doing in round 3. If I do add anything else, I'll alert you on Twitter at TheCashmanWins, so you'll know to check the website, or you can check the website at your convenience. I always post updates for golfers in the personal play section. So watch for those if you are following golf. And if you don't follow on Twitter, like I said, follow at TheCashmanWins. so you can get those updates quicker. NFL win totals. I've already sent several NFL futures out for 2023. Gave out a season win total on last week's broadcast for the Steelers. You can look at last week's episode on YouTube to see that. While you're there, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Looking ahead at Super Bowl winners, the market for winners and the Super Bowl matchups. I think those are always two fun things to look at, and they've got a lot of value in them. You can bet 3 or 4 different outcomes. We hit pretty big on our Super Bowl matchups for last season and the Super Bowl winner, and those are fun things to look at. But you look at the market right now, I like to find a few teams that play in these futures. 3 or 4 is ideal, where you can still turn a profit on a winner when you have multiple outcomes on the same game. So the Chiefs are the favorite right now at plus 600. So theoretically, you could be able to bet 4 or 5 teams, and KC should still turn a profit with the lowest odds there if they win. And that's really what I look for when I'm doing this. It's really hard to pick one team versus the entire field, but if you can add 2, 3, 4 teams in there and still turn a profit, that's a good deal. So I try to do that. Next to the Chiefs, the Eagles are next with at plus 800. I think they're going to be one of the 2 or 3 teams in the NFC that will be there at the end. I'm not ready to bet on any of these teams yet. You look at some other teams, though, getting closer to 10-1 odds or better. I think you have to look at Cincinnati. The Bengals are 11-1. If Joe Burrow stays healthy, that receiving core, Cincinnati should be right there in mid to late January again. So 11-1. If you're going to grab them, you probably grab them pretty early, because that is probably going to go down as the season goes on, unless they get off to a 0-1, 0-2 start. Haven't looked at their schedule. Well, the actual order of schedule hasn't been released yet. I think maybe that's this week, so we don't know, but I don't see them getting off to a really bad start. And if you look at the previous season, when you're doing these futures, which teams are trending upward, still have room for improvement, maybe had a good run last year, but you see them maybe going in that direction where they're trending up. I think Jacksonville's one of the most valuable teams right now in this market that really has a chance to do something special given their division, that NFC or AFC South, and then they're 25-1 right now to win the Super Bowl. So I would take a look at that. If you're going to do it, you probably want to do that early. I haven't looked at a lot of potential Super Bowl matchup odds yet, but Jacksonville is a good team to plug in there for an AFC representative against probably a team like Philadelphia or San Francisco. As the NFC looks right now, just going into the season, we don't really know. There's always a surprise team or two. I could see the Giants getting better, and the Lions are going to be better. I don't like what the Lions did with Swift. We'll see how the rookie running back they drafted from Alabama is. I'm sure he's going to be good, but I really like Swift. I had some high hopes for Detroit the coming season, and Swift was a big reason why, if he could stay on the field, stay healthy. And so I didn't like that. We'll see how that turns out for Detroit. But I think right now, plugging in Jacksonville versus Philadelphia or San Francisco, both matchups 60-1. So Philly versus Jacksonville 60-1, or San Francisco versus Jacksonville 60-1. Read plus 6,000 on your bet app. So for a casual better, $1.67 would land you just a little over $100 for either of these matchups, with Jacksonville either versus Philadelphia or versus San Francisco. I think that's worth an early look. I wouldn't go in too deep with it, but I definitely think that's something you look at if you're going to look at some early, where you get an early advantage on something that's probably not going to be there at this price as the season, we get closer to the season as the season goes on. 2 Super Bowl matchup bets that I sent out last year. We had Philly at Buffalo, and then we had Philly versus KC, which cashed at plus 1,100. So we had a profit there. And then I also gave out the Chiefs early on at plus 1,000 as one of our Super Bowl bets at 1 unit. So we netted over 8.5 units on that play with the 3 or 4 other bets that we had on that. So a big win for us there. We'll have a lot more as far as NFL futures for Picks members as we go through the coming summer, as more information comes out and we kind of see how these teams are going to shape up. We'll have the same for college football. I don't do a lot for college football until June, July, when I get Phil Steele's publication in the mail, and then I'll buy his digital version whenever that's available. Phil Steele's magazine, if you haven't used it, it's great. It's a great tool, great resource for early season college football, the first 2 or 3 weeks. And then with the digital version, he actually updates that too. So the magazine, when things happen, transfers, whatever, you can't update the magazine. It's already out. But the digital version, he'll go on there and actually update that so you can see the updates and keep that kind of current. So I like that. So we'll wait for Phil Steele as far as the college football goes, but expect a lot of stuff from me on the futures market for NFL and college football as the summer goes along. And we'll give some of that out here on YouTube and Twitter. Before we finish up, I want to look at our MLB futures that we sent out earlier and kind of take a look at a few of these and see how we're faring as the first 5 weeks of the season go along. We'll start with the AL Rookie of the Year. We got Yoshida of Boston right now. He's a favorite at plus 225. We did not have him on our list, but right behind him is Josh Jung of Texas at plus 350. We took Jung at plus 1,800 as the start of the season as one of our two bets on AL Rookie of the Year. Jung has 8 home runs right now for Texas. He's tied with Yoshida for RBI with 24 for rookies. So I like that right now. I like where we're sitting with Jung. If you want to add anyone live that we don't have on our list for the AL Rookie of the Year to start the season, you might look at Hunter Brown for Houston, right-handed pitcher. He looked really good in a couple starts last season. It's carried over to 2023. He's 3-1 with a 2.60 ERA. Really looking strong for Houston on the hill. I'd give him another month or so and see if this continues. Definitely someone to look at plus 750 if you wanted to add someone live as a Rookie of the Year candidate in the AOL. Brown, opponents are hitting just 218 against him this year. So like I said, plus 750 on DraftKings right now to win the AOL. I think AL Rookie of the Year. I think he's maybe third or fourth favorite right now. So he might be someone to look at if you're looking to add someone to your portfolio. In the National League, let's keep an eye on Corbin Carroll in Arizona. He and James Outman of the Dodgers, both plus 150 currently to win National League Rookie of the Year. We took Carroll at plus 500. We had a lengthier list for our National League Rookie of the Year list than we did for the AL, but Carroll's at plus 500 right now. He's hitting over 300. That's someone to keep an eye on for sure on that bet. I'm not sure where he's at currently on the plus 150. That's right. So we took him at 500. So we got him at the best number. I think that we're going to get him at now. So hopefully you had him and hopefully he comes through here at the end. As far as World Series futures, you look at the teams really that we did not include in our World Series strategy. I sent you guys several different matchups with combinations where we would profit if just one of them hits in many cases. The Rays were one of them we just didn't have factored in. I did not see them getting off to the start that they're off to right now. Still a long season. They got a long way to go, but Tampa's playing well. They're 27-6. Best record in baseball. I think they're going to stay in the mix. They've got good pitching. I wasn't sure about their lineup. They didn't hit real well last year. They had some injuries, but they're hitting pretty well this year. They look good. I think that's a team you probably start looking at and figuring into your World Series scenarios if you have a National League team you want to plug them in with. Probably Atlanta. But like I said, with Atlanta's bullpen right now, I've already had a little bit invested in Atlanta with a few other scenarios. I'm not going to add to it right now until I see this bullpen getting a little bit improved. But I told you a few weeks back on here that Rays to win it all. If you liked them, they were plus 1,200 at the time. Grab them because you're going to lose that number soon. And that number's already dropped, nearly cut in half. It's plus 650 now, down from the plus 1,200 when I told you about it a couple of weeks ago. So you're losing value on that as the days go by. Baltimore also playing well, fun team to watch. I'm not going to do anything with them. I'm not going to add them to any of my World Series scenarios. I don't think they have the pitching for it, starting pitching. Bullpen's been pretty good, but I like to look at that front three of a rotation, and they just don't have it right now for me. 25th in Major League Baseball in ERA, starting pitching ERA. Are they a team that would make a move in July for pitching if they stay in the mix? You have to consider that, but I still think Toronto finishes ahead of them, maybe second in the division. I don't know if Tampa's going to fall off enough to where Toronto catches them, but there's a long way to go. They very easily could. Toronto's another one of those teams we have some action on as well. Several World Series scenarios for us with Toronto factored in as the AL winner. I do like Toronto's lineup. Like I said, I like to look at the top 3 starting pitchers for a team when looking at futures. And you look at Manoah, Gausman, and Bassett. They're 1s and 2s on most starting staffs. Manoah's struggled a little bit recently, so the Jays are going to need him to get back on track. But Gausman has been good. He's been steady. Bassett, after that horrible first inning he had to start his career with Toronto earlier this season, he's really bounced back, turned things around. He got us a win last night against Pittsburgh in one of our plays in our 2-0 Friday night. So I still like Toronto to be there at the end. I think I still feel good with them as one of our World Series, AL representatives in the World Series, and some of the matchups and scenarios that I sent out to you earlier this year. So I think that's going to wrap it up for today. Like I said, I think I would take the home run props of Robert, Jimenez, and Vaughn, individual ones, not a parlay, individual home run props, anywhere from 425 to 550 to homer tonight against the Reds. If just one of them does home run, you'll have a profit. I will lean to the Reds and White Sox over 9 runs. I don't like either of the starting pitchers in this matchup. I think the White Sox are definitely going to get some runs off of Lodolo, the way they're going right now. And then that White Sox bullpen, and Clevenger's not been very good as a starter either for the White Sox. So I think we're going to see some runs there. So I'll take the over 9 in the Reds and White Sox game, and then we'll take those home run props, individual props of Robert, Jimenez, and Vaughn. And like I said, you're gambling a little bit if you take Cleveland today. They've got some history, but they're struggling. I see reasons to take Cleveland. I'm not going to. I'm going to leave them alone. We're going to watch and see how that fares. So we'll wrap it up for this weekend. We'll do this every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Again, if you would, please hit the thumbs up button on YouTube. Subscribe there as well. Like and retweet if you're on Twitter at TheCashmanWins. Become a Picks member at TheCashmanwins.com. Deal's not posted anywhere yet, but I'll have it up later. Venmo customers can get 1 year, $44, all sports through the end of the weekend. That's The Cashman Wins on Venmo. Venmo link is also up on the website as well. So take advantage of that. I'll have it up on Twitter as well for you. You can also get a lifetime pass through the end of this weekend for $149, which is normally $299. And that's at TheCashmanwins.com as well. So enjoy the Derby today. It looks like it's going to rain at some point here in Fishers. Right now, kind of a cloudy, overcast day. So good day to be indoors maybe, and lots of stuff to watch with the golf and Derby and baseball, and then NBA playoffs, and pretty fun day in sports. So hope you enjoy it, and I hope you catch me here again next week at 11 a.m. Eastern. Enjoy your day, everybody.